look, we're brothers. We'll always be brothers. We're certainly on different paths at the moment, but I will always be there for him, and as I know, he'll always be there for me.
Prince William was blindsided when DNA results shook the very foundation of his family, revealing the truth about his brother's paternity. For decades, whispers surrounded Harry's biological father, casting shadows over Diana's legacy and igniting royal scandals. Questions of loyalty, betrayal, and bloodlines had been buried, until now. Was the bond between brothers built on a lie that no one dared to uncover? Let us uncover how this revelation caused the biggest royal fight in modern history and threatened to cause a succession war. Whispered doubts about a royal bond. The results were supposed to bring closure, but instead they opened a Pandora's box of doubts and questions. As the test confirmed beyond any doubt that Charles was indeed his father, the issue should have been put to rest. Yet the media machine did not relent. Skeptics claimed the results were doctored, fueling more conspiracy theories and dragging Harry's name further into controversy. Even within the family, tensions rose as the constant barrage of headlines tested the already fragile relationships. Before we delve into this, it's clear that the truth behind these whispers is far more explosive than anyone expected, and this won't be the last revelation to shake the royals. One person who couldn't stay silent was Prince William. Known for his composure and steady presence, even he found his patience stretched thin by the endless scrutiny. He began demanding answers, not from Harry, but from the institutions that allowed such intrusive narratives to fester. Why wasn't the royal family doing more to squash these rumors? Why was the monarchy's media strategy failing to protect one of their own? The cracks in the family's public image became impossible to ignore, and driven by loyalty to his brother, he started pushing back against the establishment. Behind the walls of Buckingham Palace, the atmosphere was tense. Queen Elizabeth, who had spent her reign meticulously guarding the family's reputation, was reportedly distressed by the drama. For Charles, the rumor struck at the very core of his identity as a father. How could decades of dedication to his children be reduced to tabloid fodder? And for the Prince of Wales, the stakes felt even higher. To him, this wasn't just about Harry, it was about the entire family's legacy and the lasting impact of these stories on future generations of royals. Harry's wife, Meghan, was no stranger to the spotlight either. She offered unwavering support, urging Harry to stay grounded as the chaos swirled around them. Yet even her strength wasn't enough to shield Harry from the emotional toll. Each new headline felt like a dagger, reopening wounds that were never fully healed. For Harry, the DNA results had settled one question, but raised another. How much longer could he endure living under such relentless scrutiny? Meanwhile, whispers about Diana's personal life resurfaced in an attempt to keep the speculation alive. Critics dredged up her well-documented struggles with Charles, her affair with James Hewitt, and her tragic death. But these weren't just attacks on Harry. They were attacks on Diana's legacy. The late princess, who had captivated the world with her warmth and vulnerability, was once again reduced to a caricature in the tabloids. Her life's complexities flattened into a few salacious headlines. As public interest in the story grew, so did the pressure on the royal family. The palace released carefully worded statements, but they only seemed to stoke the fire. Why weren't they taking a firmer stand? The lack of a definitive response left room for conspiracy theorists to thrive. Was the monarchy hiding something? If not, why did their silence feel so deafening? For the Prince of Wales, the stakes were personal and professional. The heir to the throne knew that the stability of the monarchy depended on the trust of the people. Allowing baseless rumors to run rampant not only hurt Harry, but also undermined the family's credibility. He began having pointed conversations with senior advisors, demanding a new approach to dealing with the media. His frustration boiled over in private meetings, where he reportedly questioned the effectiveness of their communication strategies. Charles, on the other hand, appeared torn. While he publicly supported Harry, insiders claimed he was privately wrestling with the damage these rumors had done to his reputation. The idea that his fatherhood could be questioned after years of enduring public criticism for his failed marriage to Diana was almost too much to bear. Yet Charles's reserved nature made it difficult for him to show vulnerability, leaving others to guess at the depth of his anguish. As the drama unfolded, new voices entered the fray. Anonymous sources began leaking details, claiming to have insider knowledge of Diana's affairs and the timeline of events. These revelations added fuel to the fire, complicating the narrative and making it even harder for the public to discern fact from fiction. For Harry, it was like living in a nightmare that refused to end. Every attempt to move forward was met with another wave of speculation. The truth is out, but as things seem to calm down, bigger problems inside the palace begin to show. Holding on to what matters most. In the face of this storm, Meghan's unwavering presence became Harry's anchor. She reminded him of the importance of their own small family, their children, their love, and the life they were building together away from the royal bubble. Harry began focusing on what truly mattered, stepping back from royal duties to carve out a life on his own terms. But even in his attempts to escape, the shadow of his lineage loomed large, a reminder that he could never fully outrun the institution he was born into. The tabloids didn't just stop at Harry, they began targeting the Prince of Wales's family too, speculating on his relationships and casting doubts on his motives. For him, the attacks felt like a betrayal of everything he'd worked to uphold. He knew that the monarchy's survival depended on unity. Yet here he was, watching it fracture under the weight of public scrutiny and private pain. Frustration boiled over when he confronted palace officials about their handling of the situation. He questioned why the family's media team seemed so ill-equipped to handle modern scandals. Wasn't their job to protect the institution? The answers he received felt unsatisfactory, leaving him to wonder if the family's old ways of doing things were still relevant in a rapidly changing world. As the months wore on, the rumors finally began to lose steam, but the damage had already been done. Harry's relationship with his father and brother was forever changed by the ordeal. While the DNA results had confirmed his place in the family, the experience left him questioning whether he truly belonged. For the Prince of Wales, the ordeal underscored the urgent need for reform within the monarchy. If they couldn't adapt to the times, how could they hope to maintain the respect of the public? Diana, the beloved Princess of Wales, was no stranger to public scrutiny. Behind her radiant smile and poised demeanor was a woman trapped in a loveless marriage. While the world admired her fairy tale wedding to Prince Charles, Diana was left to endure heartbreak. Her husband's ongoing relationship with Camilla Parker Bowles was an open book, and the emotional toll on Diana was devastating. In her quest for solace, she found companionship elsewhere, and one of those connections was with James Hewitt, a dashing army officer. Their bond grew deep, and while Diana sought comfort, the tabloids smelled blood. The press wasted no time in turning Diana's personal struggles into front-page news. Headlines screamed of an affair with Hewitt, leaving the royal family scrambling to maintain their image. For Diana, it was a double-edged sword. While she found a fleeting sense of emotional escape, her reputation was dragged through the mud. Hewitt was a controversial figure in royal circles, not because of his actions, but because of his status as a commoner. The relationship, though doomed from the start, cast a long shadow that lingers to this day. It also ignited questions that would eventually point to her sons. As time passed, the cracks in Charles and Diana's marriage became too wide to ignore. Charles's relationship with Camilla continued unabated, eroding any semblance of unity in the royal household. Diana, on the other hand, found herself increasingly isolated. Her interactions with Hewitt became a flashpoint for media speculation, with some questioning whether this relationship had deeper implications. One of those questions, long considered a forbidden topic, was whether Prince William's parentage was as straightforward as it seemed. Prince William's upbringing was marked by the constant glare of public attention. As Diana's firstborn, he was not just her pride and joy, but also the future of the monarchy. Yet, as whispers about Diana's personal life grew louder, so did murmurs about William's resemblance to figures outside the royal family. Over time, these whispers became harder to ignore, even for William himself. The media's obsession with his mother's relationships began to cast doubts over every aspect of her life, including her children. The royal family, notorious for their tight-lipped approach to scandals, struggled to contain the growing curiosity. While Diana's affairs were publicized, Charles's long-standing connection with Camilla was largely downplayed. This imbalance in public perception only fueled conspiracy theories. For William, the speculation wasn't just a distant noise, it became personal. Reports of a potential DNA test to settle these rumors once and for all sent shockwaves through royal circles. The very idea threatened to unravel decades of carefully maintained narratives. The rumors don't stop, and even though some answers are found, the damage turns out to be worse than expected. The prince's heavy burden. Behind the palace gates, the pressure was immense. William's position as the heir to the throne hinged not just on tradition, but also on public trust. Any revelations that cast doubt on his lineage could jeopardize the monarchy's stability. Despite this, William reportedly insisted on clarity, seeking answers to silence the whispers that had haunted him since childhood. The results, as they began to circulate, seemed to confirm suspicions that no one dared to voice publicly. The question wasn't just about biology, it was about legacy. The implications of the DNA results went far beyond William's personal identity. If the results indeed pointed to a connection outside the royal bloodline, it raised serious questions about succession. The monarchy's entire structure rests on lineage and legitimacy, making any deviation from the expected narrative a potential crisis. For William, however, the issue was more personal. After years of speculation, he demanded answers, not just for himself, but for the truth to be known. The royal family's response to the controversy was predictably subdued. Statements were carefully worded, emphasizing unity and tradition, while avoiding direct acknowledgement of the situation. Behind closed doors, however, the atmosphere was far less composed. The potential fallout from such revelations was staggering. Would William's claim to the throne be challenged? Could the royal family survive yet another scandal, one that cut so deeply into its foundation? While William's determination to uncover the truth was commendable, it came at a cost. The public's reaction to the rumors and results was polarizing. Some saw him as brave for seeking answers, while others questioned his motivations. Was this about personal closure or a calculated move to reshape his public image? The truth, as always, lay somewhere in between. This isn't the first time the British monarchy has faced questions of legitimacy. Throughout history, there have been whispers of affairs, illegitimate children, and backdoor deals. Yet few instances have had the potential to shake the institution to its core as much as this. The monarchy's survival has often depended on its ability to adapt and control the narrative. In this case, however, the narrative seemed to slip out of their grasp. Diana's legacy looms large in all of this. Her life was a mix of public adoration and personal pain, and her sons have inherited both her charisma and her struggles. For William, the DNA controversy isn't just about his mother's past, it's about his own future. The monarchy's reliance on image and tradition has always been its greatest strength and its biggest weakness. The DNA results threatened to expose the fragility of that foundation. The world watched as the story unfolded, each revelation adding another layer to the royal drama. For William, the answers he sought came with a heavy price. The scrutiny of the press, the judgment of the public, and the tension within his own family created a storm that was impossible to weather quietly. Yet through it all, he remained resolute, driven by a need to know the truth. The DNA results may have provided clarity, but they also opened Pandora's box. Questions about legitimacy, tradition, and the monarchy's future remain unanswered. For William, the path to uncover the truth was both a personal triumph and a public spectacle. The royal family, long seen as an unshakable institution, now faces an uncertain future, one shaped by the very human flaws that make their story so compelling. For centuries, whispers of illegitimate heirs and hidden family truths have haunted the royal lineage. From the infamous King Charles II and his many mistresses to the more recent rumors surrounding Prince Harry, scandals have a way of clinging to the crown. The royals, once shielded by a veil of reverence and tradition, now find themselves exposed in a world hungry for sensational stories. The media has not been kind, with every crack in their polished facade becoming fodder for headlines. Now Prince William is caught in the crosshairs, facing questions that no royal training could prepare him for. The DNA results were like a ticking bomb, waiting to explode. Delivered anonymously, they arrived in a plain envelope, containing information that no one had expected, or at least hoped would never come to light. The results suggested a possible deviation in the royal bloodline, hinting at a father who wasn't Prince Charles. While many had assumed that the late Princess Diana's personal life had been thoroughly dissected, this revelation opened a new chapter in the story. Could it be that Prince William's entire identity was built on a lie? Each new fact makes things harder, leaving the royal family struggling to hold on to their future. Tradition tested by the modern world. Speculation quickly turned to chaos as the palace scrambled to respond. Insiders reported tension at Buckingham Palace, with senior royals convening in emergency meetings. William himself reportedly demanded clarity, insisting on further testing to verify the claims. His composure, often praised by the public, began to crack under the weight of the allegations. The once steady and reliable future king appeared visibly strained as the world waited for answers. The situation brought to mind the tragic struggles of Princess Diana, who had been relentlessly pursued by the press. Her life and untimely death were shaped by the same relentless scrutiny that her son now faces. The parallels are hard to ignore, and many sympathize with William as he navigates these murky waters. For a man who has spent his life embodying duty and tradition, this moment feels like a betrayal from within the family he has worked so hard to protect. The public reaction has been equally intense, with opinions split across the board. Some view this as a private matter that should remain behind closed doors. Others argue that, as a public figure, William owes it to the people to address the rumors head-on. Social media exploded with debates, memes, and conspiracy theories. Could this revelation lead to a shift in how the monarchy is perceived? The possibility of an illegitimate heir at the heart of the royal family has reignited questions about their relevance in a modern world. Despite the uproar, the palace remained silent for weeks, fueling speculation even further. When William finally broke his silence, his statement was measured but firm. He acknowledged the rumors but refrained from confirming or denying the claims, emphasizing the need for privacy during this challenging time. It was a rare glimpse into the deeply personal turmoil of a man who has always been seen as the epitome of stability. His words did little to quell the public's curiosity, but they underscored the emotional toll this ordeal has taken on him and his family. As the days turned into weeks, the results of additional DNA tests finally arrived. The findings were definitive. Prince William's biological father was indeed Prince Charles. While this confirmation silenced the immediate rumors, it did little to erase the damage done. The very fact that such questions could arise speaks to the fragile state of the monarchy in the modern era. Trust, once broken, is hard to rebuild, and the royal family now faces the monumental task of restoring its image. For William, the experience has been transformative. He has always been seen as the bridge between tradition and progress, but this ordeal has tested his resilience like never before. The shadow of doubt cast over his lineage, however brief, forced him to confront uncomfortable truths about his family's history. It's a reminder that even those born into privilege are not immune to the weight of legacy and expectation. This episode also raises broader questions about the role of the monarchy in today's society. Once a symbol of unity and continuity, the royal family now seems increasingly vulnerable to public scrutiny. Scandals like this one highlight the challenges of maintaining relevance in an era where privacy is a luxury few can afford. For some, the monarchy represents an outdated institution clinging to power. For others, it remains a vital part of Britain's cultural heritage. This latest controversy only adds fuel to the ongoing debate. William's response to the crisis will likely shape public perception of the royal family for years to come. If he can emerge from this stronger and more relatable, it could mark a turning point for the monarchy. However, if the cracks continue to show, it may accelerate calls for reform or even abolition. The stakes are high, and the world is watching closely to see how the future king will navigate this storm. In the end, the DNA results confirmed what many already believed, but the path to that truth has left a lasting impact. For William, the ordeal has been a sobering reminder of the burdens that come with the crown. The revelations may have vindicated his place in the royal lineage, but they also expose the vulnerabilities of a family that has long been shrouded in tradition and secrecy. As he moves forward, one thing is clear: the path ahead will be anything but easy. Could these DNA results expose a truth the royal family desperately wants to hide? Or is there more to this story than we know? Tell us your thoughts and remember to like and subscribe for more.